Hiya and welcome to SeeNoBounds Live.
When today, we're not just going to talk about how to build a LinkedIn profile, we're going to talk about how to create, in his own words, a Wizbang LinkedIn profile.
You ain't kidding.
Gareth Wax.
Hello, guys. How is everybody?
Do you know, mate, I'm really looking forward. So we did a show with you recently, and I've put it out 2 or 3 times now, because I just think every time we do a show with you, I take so much away from it. And that's the fundamental. It is all about that LinkedIn profile. So I agree with you. Anybody can help you set up a LinkedIn profile. I mean, I can help someone set up a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
It's rocket science.
No.
But what I want to know is, how do you set up an awesome, an amazing, a Wizbang version of a LinkedIn profile?
Over to you, Gareth.
Testify. Now, look. All right, look. As you said, anybody can set up a profile. All you've got to do is put together a bunch of words, numbers, ideas, shove them in there, and hope and pray. But here's the problem. They don't care. They don't care. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
They want to know stuff that's going to divert them. We live in a world whereby LinkedIn on a mobile phone is turned into Tinder. They only look at it for about 3 seconds before they get bored or see a squirrel, and they're gone. So the whole point is, you've got to grab their attention, grab them by the cojones. And what I do, I call it buying seconds. Every part of the profile has got to drag them down to the next bit. It is not enough that you promise them the world. That's not what it's about. All you've got to do is get them interested. Can we banish one word? There's no such word as unique. Let's stop calling it unique. I think there's been very little unique since the late 1920s. The truth of the matter is, you just want to be interesting. You want them to go, oh, really? How? And tell me more. That's what you want. And if they're not doing that, you've wasted your time. It doesn't matter that you spent all that time creating the most beautiful, gorgeous stories that elicit tears and cries from virgins. Nobody cares. Because if you don't get them to read it in your about section, it's pointless. So how do we do that? Well,
so how do we do that? I mean, I will say one thing though, Gareth. When the word unique comes into play, you come up first hand. So
no, I'm just slightly unusual. Take the hat off.
So you are definitely unique, mate.
Remember, like everybody else, under these clothes, I'm completely naked. And that's probably a vision you don't want to think about. It's disgusting. Carry on.
So let's strip it back then, and let's strip down what we need to do with our LinkedIn profile.
All right. Would you believe it? One of the most important things is your profile image. Now, I'm so sorry. I'm really going to dash the hopes and dreams of 1,000 headshot photographers. You don't need a headshot photographer. What you need is a blank wall, a winning smile, and facing dead on. So there was a lot of work done in the late 70s about the reactions of humans to other humans. It was the Kinsey report. It was actually talking about sex, but the truth of the matter was, in every image, no matter how horrendous or deranged it was, humans' eyes are directed straight towards the eyes and the mouth. Eyes and the mouth. Doesn't matter about the rest of it. She's doing what with a what? No, eyes and the mouth, first of all. So your eyes and your mouth need to be facing forward, not coquettishly looking over your shoulder. None of that nonsense. Not with your ex-partner's arm draped around your neck. None of that. Not with a cactus. I saw this once. Balancing precariously on a shoulder. What? Anyway, so what we want to do is you want to be dragged towards your eyes and your mouth. Right? If everybody can take a look at my profile, by the way, and I'll teach you this technique later as well, they can find me by searching, like what 3 words to find an address? Yeah. I've got what 3 words to find a profile. If you search for Gareth, Wax, inspiration, I come straight up. Bang. And anybody can make this happen. It's brilliant. So once you're looking at me, you'll notice my photograph is facing forward, head and shoulders, plain background, engaging and winning smile, looking straight forward to the camera. Because once they've done that, that's the first second gone. Next thing, they've got the banner behind them. Lots of people fill that out with untold words and click here and read this. And oh my giddy aunt, it's like white noise. Stop it. You stop it. Right. So what you want to do is you want to change that banner so that it puts your logo just over the top of your head. That way, and Jamie, you know about this. You see someone's logo beside someone's face for long enough, eventually one becomes the other. If I turn up anywhere with this hat on, immediately I know what he's about, because LinkedIn has become associated with a silly purple hat and a stupid gold band, right? That's the whole idea. You're trying to create an ident. That's the first thing. So the logo should be just above where your profile image is. Next of all, 80,
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I haven't yet.
80 to 90. We spoke about this, Jamie, didn't we? 80 to 90% of your initial views coming on a mobile phone, and because of the TikTok world that we live in, everybody holds their phones vertically, right? Which means that your screen real estate is a tiny little spit at the top, which isn't the same shape or dimensions as that which is shown where you normally do LinkedIn, which is on thing. So it truncates from the left. So if you've got words that start any earlier than about halfway across, suddenly your profile image is intersecting with them, negating their whole point of being there. So therefore, if you're going to put words there, if you feel you have to, make sure they start back there. And if you are going to put in it, you want to put stuff when we're buying a second. Put in a mission statement. And a mission statement is doing X to help Y achieve Z.
Yeah, I've got get connected, get exposed, get support.
So you didn't need to see my stomach. Sorry about that. Now, moving swiftly on. Once you got past that bit, you hit something called the headline. Now, the headline, it's threatening to fall down. It's threatening. The headline is the bit that comes underneath it. What do people do? They go, John Sloanbanks, professor of blah, 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 expert in blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. They want to know something that makes them remember you because of something associated with what you're about. And should we think about the outcome you're giving them? So, for instance, if you're a person that helps people with their writing their wills, and that you might be for the future or future boy or anything like that. Because that way, that doesn't have to be directly associated with what they do, as long as they can remember you. So a lot of people reflexively connect to you. You need them to remember you. Next bit, we're just going to get the top part of the headline. We'll talk about that. There's many parts of LinkedIn where they places the word more, more, to read more. And here's the thing. Humans, and Jamie, you know when you're watching that terrible program, Geordie Shore, and the remote
Never watched it.
Yeah, and the remote, I know you are, and the remote is just 6 inches too far away to get. You'll end up watching it till all your intelligence dribbles out your ear holes, purely because you didn't have enough impetus to go and get the remote. In the same way, you need to make them want to click that and. Oh, they'll never read what you've written there. They'll never see what you're about unless you click that and. So therefore, the first 10 words of your headline have got to be one that makes them actually sit up and take notice right now. That's what you're about. It's all about it. Scrolling all the way down to your about section, in the same way, the first 4 lines, it always places a more button. That first 4 lines has got to give them enough impetus. They want to smack the more button and read whatever else you've written there. Otherwise, what is the flippity-dibbity point?
Brilliant. Right. So, okay. So
I'm kind of taking mental notes.
Let me summarize.
Summarize. We've got 1 minute. Summarize.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. You're buying seconds. No single point on your profile will secure you a deal. Don't even think about that. Think about the fact that you're on an education mission. You want them to understand what you represent so that by the end of it, they've got the feeling that, oh, wow, there is a possibility here. Not a probability, not an actuality, a possibility. And the only way you can do that is by conveying information. So you do that in dribblies all the way down, each one buying a second to read the next portion.
Fantastic. Right. Now, I also know that if you go to LinkedIn and type in Gareth Wax Inspiration, you will find a clickable link on his top part of his profile.
With little hearts
With
on
a little
it.
heart on it.
Between the hearts.
Yeah, where you can then download some useful tips. Okay. And there's loads to be done with it.
21 of them.
Definitely do that. Yeah, 21 of them to be precise.
One for every year of my age.
And I've gone through it. Yeah, right. Right, so that is all we've got time for this part of the show. So, listen, Gareth, thank you. My top tip is go and do that top tipping thing. And we will see you right back here very, very soon with the next subject.
Huzzah!
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Hello. We're back in the studio metaphorically with definitely the unique Mr. Gareth Wax.
Well,
I just say slightly unusual, maybe a little bit warped, slightly on the underside, that sort of thing.
Definitely
we've
all
got
of
a
above.
very special show for you today. So if you're watching, we're going to talk about how you can create relationships with other businesses using LinkedIn, because we've got himself, Gareth Wax Inspiration, talking to us all about that. So go for it, Gareth. Off you go.
I used to have a girlfriend once. She couldn't call it a relationship. She called it a spaceship. That's because people avoid relationships at all costs. It's a scary thing. Relationships online are no different. I know it's probably slightly less messy and you don't have to sleep in the wet patch. But the important part is this. When you're trying to do things, do you remember back in the 80s, I know probably a bit long back for most of you, okay, the 90s even, when people ring you up and say, I want to sell you 450 of my left-handed grommet widgets, and I want you to buy them now. Where's your credit card? Yes, quickly, let's buy. We're not doing that anymore. It's much more about confirming that you're capable and that you're willing, and much more, you're a safe pair of hands, and you can't do that thing quickly. It has to be done over time. And LinkedIn is just a confirmatory medium to make sure that over that time that you can put that information out so they see where your value lies and that you really are capable. Nobody's going to believe you in a split second anymore because we live in a cynical time. And in this cynical time, people need confirmation, and they need confirmation from people they trust, and they don't know you yet. So they can't necessarily trust you. Don't shoot for trust. Let's shoot for moments of belief. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm glad you asked. What I mean by that is quite simply this. You're going to make it obvious which questions they should answer, and then you're going to answer them. So, for instance, you might say something like, in your communications, we help people, and they're thinking, well, how much is it going to cost? And it's initially at no cost. What do you mean at no cost? Well, we're going to give out information up front. Why? Because you're paying it forward. So you must always think that 20% of all the expertise you have should be ready to put out there in dribs and drabs to confirm that you know what the flibbity dip, what you're talking about. Because if you do that, they'll start believing that all the rest of the stuff that's behind this green curtain over here is actually worth buying. You want to get to the point where you show them the doorway and they walk through it willingly without you having to put a size 10 in their bag. You follow me? So, therefore, how do we do that on LinkedIn? Because I'm really talking, that was so far in general terms. So, let's say you've gone to a SeeNoBounds get together, a shindig of some sort, and you've met people because, let's face it, they're one of the best places to meet good people. And you meet people there and you're thinking, that's great, let's go and have some tea. No! The first thing you should be doing is saying to them, do you know what? I really am keen on building this relationship. One of the first steps might be if we join each other's LinkedIn networks. So look, I tell you what, I'll send you my LinkedIn, or I'll give you my 3 words for LinkedIn. I'll talk about that later. And therefore, they can find you. You can find each other. You can join up. And when you do, because you're already talking to them, let's say right now, you can say things like, "It's me. I'm talking to you right now. Hurrah!" And that way, when you started out, you're starting on a positive note. Next thing is you should follow it up. Always follow up your connection request. And by the way, please, I beg of you, to all things holy and beyond, please don't do this business of, "I'd like to be part of my extended network."
Yeah.
God, please make it stop. Kill it with fire. No, what you want to do instead is say something like, "Do you know what? I think we share common interests. I'm going to demonstrate that over a period of time, probably over the next 2-3 weeks to the next few months, by sharing content that I think you're really going to be interested in. And I welcome your feedback." That's it. Don't promise them anything more than a future whereby you're going to provide information. And this creates the moment of belief, because you said you're going to do a thing. You demonstrate you've done that thing. Instantly tick. You do that enough times, you get to become trusted advisor. And a trusted advisor is someone who they say, "Jump off the bridge." They'll go, "Oh, that seems like a good idea. Off I go." The point about it is you've got to get them to trust you, and you can only do that by giving them the opportunity to get those moments of belief. So now you're connected. What's the first thing you do? Yes, send a follow-up. Not just obsequiously think, "Oh, thank you so much for joining with my network. I'm really pleased." None of that. Stop that. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to say, "Do you remember I promised to do a thing? Well, here's the first thing I promised to do. Here's a link to some tips and tricks that will really get you started. And I'll tell you what, once you've done them, if you want, we could even have a one-to-one. Here's my one-to-one calendar link, or other products do apply. Fairness and all that. Very BBC. Anyway, so the whole point is you want them to believe that you are a person of your word. And you've got to do that in small drips and drabs. So let me summarize the...
Yeah, let's summarize.
Yes, please.
I love doing shows with you, Gareth, because I generally don't actually have to do anything.
No.
So let's
let's
summarize this down, right?
Thank
you. We got a minute, so let's do it.
Thank you from the Welsh studio.
Yes.
So the summary is this. When you're trying to connect to them and you're trying to build a relationship, don't do it on the basis of nothing. Do it on the basis that there's going to be good stuff that you believe they'll be interested in, and watch for this space because it's coming soon. And then once they've connected to you, say to them, "Thanks so much for doing that. Here's the first bit of useful stuff so you can get your teeth into." You're creating a moment of belief. You're allowing them to test it. And that means a little brownie point, ready to build up all those brownie points to the point where they become trusted advisor. Then once they're connected, anything that you believe they're going to be interested in, tag them into it. That way they're continuously getting evidence that you actually give a flying monkey's half-witted stuff what they think. And it's demonstrating that again and again over a period of time will get to the point where it no longer is just belief, but it becomes trust.
That is a good tip. That, I mean, it's difficult to do for like.
What did you say? Well, all my other tips are rubbish, and that one was the only good one.
Pretty much. Sometimes it's not always easy, but it depends if you're targeting as well. And I think that's where it really.
Yeah, we're tagging in as well.
We do that a lot.
Hang on. People tag in indiscriminately. I'm saying tag them in to the bits that you really already... So take notes as you go along. And if they say, "I'm really interested in carpentry and grommet screws," then everything I have is relative to either or both. That's what you tag them into.
Yeah. We
so
do that very well.
If you tag in people into posts that you think is relevant to them and so on, and they don't respond, doesn't that give you less sort of show time, if you like, on LinkedIn?
Okay, we can get into that. But I was hoping to do that in the next one. But, all right, but I'll do it quickly now. So if you put a post out there, you have a 90-minute timer after the moment you put the post out, during which time people can respond. The rate at which they respond over the first 90 minutes will determine how many more beyond the basic 15% of your LinkedIn level 1 will get to see it. here's the problem. If you've only got 100 people connected to you, you'll only roughly let 15 of them see any of the stuff. So what you really need is for people to help you do that. So I'd encourage people that know you well, other members of SeeNoBounds, to give honest commentary. By the way, I live by one of many mottos, one of which is authentic communication is transformative. So it needs to be authentic. It needs to be what they really think. I don't want people writing stuff on my posts which aren't what they really think. It needs to be what they really think.
I couldn't agree more with that, actually.
Yeah.
Listen, we have to end the show, and I think that lies, because I know that there's another show to follow with more on that. So
it's almost like he can predict the future.
I know, right? I know. You'd think we'd prep this. So I've got a top tip for you. So if you go to Gareth Wax Inspiration on LinkedIn, and there's the clickable link with
between the hearts.
Yeah, between the hearts, 21 top tips. My advice is do it. Right, we have to go. So until next time, thank you so much. Massive thank you to Gareth. Don't go far away. We've got another show on its way to you now. Take care. Goodbye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to SeeNoBounds Live.
We are joined back here with Gareth with another fantastic show. And this time it's all about how to not sell on LinkedIn. Am I right?
Disgusting, filthy, selling, all wrong. Ooh. Icky.
So we're going to talk about how to use LinkedIn without selling, right? So come on, Gareth. What's? I know that this is a massive subject for you. So this is where we stick a pound of meat over
exactly.
there. So come on, Gareth.
I'm going to stir stuff up. By Jiminy, I'm going to get people really hot under the collar here, because there's a certain set of people that encourage you to DM with no responsibility as to the response. And what I mean by that, indiscriminate DMing. Oh, do you ever get this? I mean, the most common behavior on LinkedIn, I think. They send you a connection message saying, hi, I do X, Y, and Z, and I thought you might be interested. And you go, well, I'm not interested right now, but I'll connect to you. And then 30 seconds later is, would you like to buy my Okie Kokie 2000? I've only got 20 available. You get a 10% discount if you buy now. And you're thinking to yourself, but I already said to you, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
This is all about the relationship build that leads to belief. We've talked about this before, that leads to trust. Because if you trust someone and you know they're the best at whatever it is, you're more likely to go to them first, especially if they're a personality that you feel is winning or interesting. So we're shooting for moments of interest. We're shooting about being different. We're shooting about sticking above your head above the parapet. So, yes, I know they can throw rotten eggs at you, but they can also take notice of you. All of these things are important. So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to give everybody a post I want everybody to do indiscriminately. And this post is called 11 Things You Never Knew About Me. Now, there is a body of people out there. Is a body a collective term? It is now. Yeah. A body of people out there, maybe a plethora. I like that too. And what they do is they say, LinkedIn's for business stuff only, and you should never use any personal stuff in it. And otherwise, a point of pain of death, go to Facebook. And the truth of the matter is, they're wrong. LinkedIn is about humans. I know it's about businesses, but these businesses have to be made of humans. And until we get to the point where AI is running businesses, that's what it will be. Next year, that'll be. So the point is that what you want people to do is to see you as approachable, to see you as non-threatening. And the classic salesman of, are you interested in X, Y, Z? How many would you like? Or are you interested in attending my thing? It only costs 300 zillion pounds. All of that is threatening and pushy and dynamic in a negative way. Instead, if you put out information ostensibly and obviously without wanting them necessarily to do anything more than comment, otherwise not to buy into anything, not to do anything more, just because it's going to help everyone, you establish two things. One, you establish consistency. Consistency is absolutely key on LinkedIn. And this is what leads to sales. Consistency. You know what they say, that 90% of a good sale is about showing up. The other one is you establish authority, because you're putting out information which, by virtue of it being consistent, means that what you said last week is very similar to what you say in a week's time. I can predict the future too. So the point about it is, without selling, you're going to establish yourself as a go-to person within your firmament. Not the only person. I'm very good friends with a number of other LinkedIn bods on LinkedIn and off. And I think there's enough room for us all. People will buy, a horrible expression, but I know it's true. People buy from
people.
And they buy from personality. Well, they do, but they buy from personality. Part of the reason people love your network, you guys, is that you guys bounce off each other, and you know, Jamie with his slight anarchic bouncing off the wall, and Charlott desperately trying to rein him in, and failing miserably. It's wonderful. It's a delightful place to be, and never let it change. It's great. And part of the reason people with me, it's not just my amazing choice of bow ties. It's also all about the fact that I'm not run of the mill. I am offering to think outside the box. In fact, I go so far as to say, why does it need to be a box? The point about it all is, you don't want to be perceived as the person who's constantly trying to hammer the thing home, at the end of which there's a pound sign.
Yeah.
It to be that people want to come to you and they say, well, I know you've given out this really good stuff. Is there anything you could do for me? And if so, what are your charges? That's your ideal. So let's summarize. I love a summary.
Really
Yes,
love a summary too.
Yeah, it gives me time to actually come back down. So yeah, let's summarize this into, a 1 minute.
A sale is where you present yourself, you impose yourself, you get someone to decide to apply pound signs or dollar signs or whichever, or yen to it, and you close the deal. What we're advocating on LinkedIn is, instead of that, you put out evidence, you put out more evidence, and you create a tip. So let's finish off. 11 things you never knew about me. At the end of it, I want you to ask 2 questions. One closed, because everybody finds closed questions easy, and one open, much harder. But once you've done one, it's a practice run up for the second. Now, this is going to be a personality post, but I want you to put at the end of it, says, and tell me how it affects your business. So the watchword I'd like to throw out there, please steal it, use it as you will, which is this. This is the phrase I want everybody to remember. Personal content, because it gets all the hits and the interest. Business intent. So they see you as a personality who really does brilliant business.
All right, I get that. Now I'm going to put that into layman terms.
Hang on. Mic drop.
Yeah, that is definitely mic drop. In layman terms, so many people say you shouldn't put personal stuff out, but it's the personal stuff that gets all of the content, and the business stuff people just look at, but they don't necessarily like it or comment on it, but they see it, and we get that a lot.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah.
We so often put content out there, and you think, oh, no one's seen it, and then when we stop, people go, oh, I've been missing your this or that, or I noticed you haven't done this and that recently, and all of a sudden we go, and we did it recently with the lives, wasn't it? It was. We sort of stopped doing it. We had a bit of an issue. And then when we relaunched it out, people were like, oh, it's so good to see your lives come back on. And yet none of them ever interact with it or comment on it. So
it was at this moment that Jamie's light switched on.
Yeah, I've got 3 of them on at the moment. But I have to end the show. But that, to me, was probably a real aha moment for me.
Yeah.
Really was.
So I think we should all do 11 things about ourselves now and see what happens.
I'm definitely going to do it.
No, let's do it at the beginning. You started off by doing this. I know loads about you, but I don't think you know that much about me. And we're going to change that right now. Here are 11 things you never knew about me. By the way, I recommend putting at least one ridiculously outlandish one in there. Make it true, but outlandish. Here's one for you. I once rubbed my nose against Brad Pitt's face. It's a story I'll tell you later, but yes. So the point is something outlandish, and the rest of it all the way through. End it with one closed question, because people find it easy. So it might be, has this sort of thing ever happened to you? That's a yes, no, isn't it? Binary. And then, could you tell me more about it in the comments and how it affected your business?
Fantastic.
Here we go. That is the top tip of the day, definitely.
Yeah, that's it. Right. We've got to end the show. Don't go too far away. We've got another show coming. It's been absolutely fantastic. A massive thank you to Gareth Wax. We will see you right back here very, very soon. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Hello and welcome back. We've got the amazing Gareth Wax in the studio. Charlotte, what are we talking about today?
Well, we all know that everything about effective networking is about follow-ups, and there's many ways you can do that. But today we have Gareth Wax. LinkedIn possessive, is that what you call yourself?
I'm a LinkedIn obsessive, I'm afraid. I always feel that if you call yourself an expert, it feels like you've got nothing more to learn. I just keep finding. Every time I find a ground floor on LinkedIn, I suddenly find a basement underneath it full of more bits and pieces that nobody ever knew about.
So as a LinkedIn obsessive, you obviously know the best ways to follow up on effective networking.
I know some ways. And remember, the watchword always is about consistency. And let's cover this. And it's going to be a bit weird. So hold on to your seatbelts.
We're ready.
Or hats. First of all, how do you dress? I'm looking at you, Jen. No, I'm not. The point I'm trying to say is, why are you dressed? No, the point I'm trying to say is quite simply this. The way that you appear when you first meet them should be the way that you appear in your networking groups.
Yeah, totally agree.
Because otherwise you put a moment of disbelief in their minds that maybe they're not always the same. Maybe they are different. Another one, the photograph that you have on your LinkedIn profile should be similar, at least in age. My goodness, I got one 2 days ago. It was taken 11 years ago when she was all like taut and, blemish free. It's just that if there's a disparity, just like if you go dating between the picture of the person you receive and the person who's sitting across from you, then it can not just put you off, but lead to you thinking that they lie, or at least are not entirely truthful about who they are. So that's the first thing. So how you dress. You don't need superb bow ties and amazing hats to be able to make an impression. But having a physical look and that is consistent starts to build belief. Now, when you've met them for the first time, take notes. Not obsessively. Repeat that again. No, I didn't quite go over it. The other bit. Yes. Not that. I mean, take keyword notes about the things they're saying, about the things that are really important to them. Even if if somebody jokes about a football team they support and they groan about whatever, take notes. These are important things. It's very useful to be able to point things out. Oh, are you tired this weekend? Was it because you were out playing with the boys? Footy? Is that what it was? It creates kinship, which is what we're looking for. Next thing, when you follow up, and I recommend follow-up should be within 5 days of your first having interacted. Don't leave it to the other side of a 2-month holiday before you interact with them. Who? What? They want to... No! Oh, bye! That's the way to kill a relationship before it starts. Within 5 days. And if you can't do it within 5 days, I recommend you send them over a message on LinkedIn having connected to them. Because as we spoke before, one of the first things you do when you're networking, even while you're networking, is get that connection going. Send them a message saying, I'm really looking forward to talking to you more because we had such a great introduction when we met on SeeNoBounds. That's right. That's how it's spelled. SeeNoBounds. That's right. Anyway,
yeah.
So
definitely.
That's it. So we had such a great relationship, and I'm really looking forward to it. I can't remember whether I gave you my booking link, so I've included it just here. Give them the booking link again. You know full well you sent it to them, but what you're trying to do is make sure they've always got it, and you don't want them to feel embarrassed. You know, I don't know how many business relationships have died out of the embarrassment of not showing whether or not it's the right time or the right number or the right whatever. Just go past all that. Say, blame yourself. Always be self-deprecatory with that sort of thing. I can't remember whether I sent you that booking link. Book yourself on it. Let's have that little no obligation initial discovery and find out all about you, and then you find a bit more about me. Just by doing that, you're showing willing. And you're not trying to sell anything. You don't mention a product, a purpose, or a skill set. All you're talking about is getting to know you and you getting to know me. The assumption is going to be at some point it will stray off who's pet dog or why you've got a llama in your garden, along to why the business works and how it could work for them. But you're not going to talk about that when you're setting up that meeting. When the meeting comes along and you're talking to them face to face, ask about them first. Allow them to talk about themselves first. And then always say, and if they are droning on a bit and they've gone on for at least 11 minutes and you're thinking, I'm not going to get that 11 minutes back, am I? Say to them, I'm really sorry, but I've got a hard stop by past. Would it be all right if I just explain what I do and just see if there's some sort of symbiosis there? That's the easiest way. I'm also going to teach you all a word you already know, but you can use it really usefully, and it's called absolutely. What it does is it creates space. So if someone's going on and a lot of people don't understand, they're not media trained. Why would they be? Russell Brand could have done with that. Sorry, hashtag topical. What they do is they're going on and they're going, yeah, and my pet giraffe the other day, I could have sworn that he left a poo in the shape of Monica Lewinsky. And you're going, really? Okay, absolutely. So what we've been doing recently is to absolutely create a gap without making the other person feel unsure or in fact, without sounding rude, because all you're doing is you're creating a natural pause.
Yeah.
I think I actually do that a lot.
You do actually. She does that a lot to me, which makes me a little bit more worrying. But I always say so, and I say it really like.
Yeah, but so sounds like if you expanded so. So you're a real so and so, and I'm fed up with talking about this, and I want to move it on.
Yeah, that's pretty much it actually. But because I do it a lot when I do talks as well, like it's my natural. Right, stop and move on to the next thing now. So
let me summarize the position.
We like a good summary.
Oh, I love a summary. I prefer wintry because it gets a bit warm at the moment. Anyway, moving on. Somebody the other day, an American, asked me to explain what irony is, and I said, well, it's very similar to silvery and goldery, except with iron. But you know what the irony was? When I looked it up, there is actually a word irony, which means made of iron. So the laugh was on me. Anyway, what you're trying to do is make people feel that the transition from one medium, Zoom or whatever it is, to another one where you're actually properly one-to-one personal is easy. Anything that causes friction or puts gravel or grit in its way is counterproductive. And the best way of doing that is consistency of look, consistency of approach. Don't push a product, service, or an idea on them. Simply suggest that you want to get to know them better, which it should be the truth. During the process of getting to know one better, you will cover what do you do for a living, how do you help people. Would you like to know how I help people? Maybe there's a way through. You take that approach, you will start building a relationship that could lead to repeat business. And repeat businesses always comes from people who trust you. So you need to build that up so they get their moments of belief that they can test, which affords you trust, at which point they'll buy into your services.
Fantastic.
That's great.
It's a great way to end the show. Look, we have to end the show at some point, right? Because otherwise...
I
Must we?
I was just
so sad.
mental question,
No,
but that
it's
is
a
going
new
to have
show.
to wait to the next show.
Definitely. So
Stay
listen,
tuned.
we've done a couple of shows now with Gareth, and I've said it at the end. Look, if you want to have some 21 top tips, go to LinkedIn, type in Gareth Wax Inspiration, and you will see top tips, 20 tips, 21 tips. Click on the link. It's got hearts in there. You can't miss it. And go through it.
It's not just, you don't have to type it into Google. That's the beauty of doing it this way. It takes them as 3 search terms. Literally into Google, Gareth, Wax, Inspiration. Boop.
I love that, actually. There's a whole load of other stuff going around that.
And
But
for
listen,
anyone.
we've got to end the show. We've got to end the show. I'm sorry. Stop. We're going. Till next time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gareth.
Take
Wax. Till
care.
next time. Take care. Goodbye.
Yeah! Was that...